And I invite you now back to this time and this place and this Sunday moment. Breathing in and breathing out that breath of God. So the lights will come on in a moment. So here they come. Thank you. Diane, the light bringer this morning. I love Christmas. I've always loved Christmas. I love it more and more. I can't imagine loving it much more than I already do, but I do. And this is the season. This is the season for all of it, for presents, for love, for goodness, for God. And the beautiful thing about December is Christmas, as Christians, is our contribution to it. But there's Hanukkah, and there's the winter solstice, and there's Kwanzaa. And we pack about as much in December as we do in February when we have all the birthdays and Valentine's Day and Chinese New Year. So, as I was here this morning, tidying up a little bit, vacuuming up a few crumbs, I thought, I even love vacuuming up after a party at Christmas. And here's why. Because there's evidence that something happened here. That we had a really good time on Friday. If you were here, you know, and if you weren't, too bad. But anyway, so the whole thing, it's like when I used to do the dishes with my Aunt Joyce and repolish the silver and the crystal and all that after Thanksgiving, where we had prepared all week and we ate it all in 15 minutes. You know how that is. Yeah. But there was something about putting that away that we knew that we had prepared, and we had the linens out and all of those good things. So I am in collusion with Annie this morning when I read the Daily Word, as I do the week before, just to see how the meditation is, and I thought, is that the truth? It is the third Sunday of the Advent season, and Advent merely means the journey toward Christmas. Just like it's a counterpart or other part in spring is the Lenten season, where we journey toward Easter. This celebration, the world notices in this with us. At Easter, it's ours. It's Christian. It's our Jesus and his story. But at Christmas, another light being born in the world, whose story and life and richness we can appreciate and we celebrate. We do gifts like the wise men did gifts. And they brought those special gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh to the baby Jesus as tangible gifts. But the gift that they brought and endowed him with was the gift of spiritual kingship. They were kings, and they were kings from different lands. They were kings from different faiths coming to this Jewish babe. Why would they do that? Why would they journey? You know. Because light recognizes light. Divine recognizes divine. Spirit, when we say namaste in our opening song, recognizes spirit. Spirit recognizes spirit. So yesterday, we told you a little bit about our adventure, Annie and I, to bring the 30 CDs to Vera. So we took the back road. It was one of my Christmas gifts. And we need Christmas gifts and rituals. We need all of it. We need the candles out. We need how you do your house. You need to make those cookies from your grandmother's recipe, because it gives us the season then we're a part of. So we were driving, and it was beautiful. We took the back road, Sand Canyon Road instead of the freeway, and we came down. And we were driving, and we drove by a house. And the house is blue, and outside it looked like there was a little snowman that had a little blue cap and had something on the ground in front of it. So I said, Annie, I think that's a Jewish house, and I think that's a little Jewish boy, one of the blow-ups like you see snowman, and with his little yarmulke, and sure enough, it was, and there was a little dreidel on the lawn in front of him. First one I've ever seen. Any of you seen a little Hanukkah snow? It was adorable. And I said, you see, we're part of something so big and rich, and you know, as Christians, we are from the house of David. You know that if that temple lied, if that miracle hadn't happened and the Maccabee clan and tribe hadn't been able to reclaim from the Greeks who were there at the time the Jewish temple and the Jewish custom, there would have been no Jewish culture for Jesus to be born in. So my friends, your heritage is Jewish. Yeah. It's sacred to know. Yeah, that's what we came from. So that was one of my Christmas joys and Christmas presents. But you have Christmas stories and Christmas joys and things that you say, oh, I remember this Christmas when, or I remember that Christmas when. So I'm hoping that this time of year you are giving not only a tangible gift, but also a gift of spirit. Because you know, when you cuddle up with your loved ones and friends and have a little sweet person sitting on your lap, years from now, maybe this Christmas, they're not going to say to you, Aunt Mary or Cousin Sue, I so love the socks you gave me. They're not going to say that. But what they are going to say and remember is, wow, I remember last Christmas we went to the Mission Inn and we had dessert, and then after we went skating on the ice rink, remember? And you're there, and you live that memory. The socks have been lost in the wash a long time ago. But the memory and the gift of Christmas stays. So I'm hoping that in your Christmas landscape, as Christmas becomes closer and closer, that you're including some special times with some special people. They'll remember that a lot more than themselves. I have a couple of Christmas stories that are my favorite. And then I want to let you know that, I'll let you know that now. At the bottom, the scripture is from John today. I give you a new commandment. You see, Jesus was born into the Jewish culture and he learned all about that, but he didn't stay there. He took the divine invitation to grow. And that's the invitation that I'm giving to you today, to grow. This is going to be your best Christmas ever. And then next year will be your best Christmas ever. And you'll just keep growing into this Christ spirit. So pretty soon, you'll need your own sleigh and your own troop of elves. You will. The new commandment, that you love one another. There's not a better time or place than Christmas to do it. Not a better time or place than Christmas. And we love one another by being expressions of that. I have three special things that I like to do at Christmas. The first is the wreath goes on my car the day after Thanksgiving. It's there now. It's silver. When I drive on the freeway, it kind of tips up a little bit and the sun catches it and the rainbows. I kind of feel like I'm one of Santa's elves. You know, it says, don't worry, the elf is here. You'll be fine. The second one is I go to whatever library is close and I check out as many children's storybooks that they'll let me have. Right now I'm maxed out on, that's the only card I don't mind being maxed out on, is my library card. Yeah, maxed out. And your children and friends are reading them right now. Stories of Kwanzaa, stories of Christmas, because this is a global celebration. You know, there are people who, Hanukkah not so much, Christmas maybe, but the winter solstice, darkest night of the year when the light comes, or Kwanzaa. So there's celebrations all over. So I go and read my stories. And then the third one is, on Christmas Day, I've chosen in my neighborhood, so I start looking at the lights now, I've chosen a house that I think wins the decorating award. And I present myself as a member of the community decorating committee, of which there isn't one, but they don't know that. So I go and I knock on the door and I say, excuse me, you've won the award. And it used to be that I would do muffins and apples, but not that that's trouble, but not everybody's always home. Somebody else would come and, you know, little deer eat the apples. So now it's a, you know, whose card and a nice little Christmas card. So I remember the first year that I did this with my friend. I was in Sacramento at the time. She lived in Roseville. We would drag her 2 teenage daughters with us and say, you are coming on this Christmas adventure with us. I know what you are getting in the car, you know, the edict, how we have to do. So they did, and we ended up having a good time. We'd always have chocolate after. And then so Christmas Eve comes, and we have to narrow it down to 3. So we drive around with our 3 favorites, and we narrow it down to 1, and then we arrive on Christmas morning, knock on the door. Then it was apples and muffins, and she's an extremely good Italian cook, so she made little Italian cookies. So knock on the door, this one particular year. Balloons, and not balloons, but the inflatables were just beginning to be born. So you didn't see a lot of those, but you saw a lot of beautiful windows done. So we knock on the door, and nobody's there, so we think, okay, second. We knock on the door, nobody's there. Because the deal is, you don't just leave the card. You have to make eye contact, you have to thank them, you decide what you have. So finally, we get to the house. Yeah, we go back a little bit. This house was just an ordinary suburban house. However, the sidewalk, the trees, the roof was entirely outlined with little blue lights. And they were just thrown up there. They were little blue lights. Any engineers in the... So we knock on the door. This little man opens the door and steps out. I named him Mr. Pendleton. That's not his real name. But he was wearing one of those Pendleton robes, little slippers. So Mr. Pendleton steps out. Yes, he says. So we say, we're the neighborhood decorating committee. We've come to let you know that you've won the prize. Oh, he says. So here we give it to him. And we thank him for the blue lights. He said, well, it's for my Marge. And we think, oh no, here comes the story. Oh yes, here comes the story. So he and Marge had been married 53 years. She passed away that year. And every year she decorated the house. I mean festoon, I mean ribbons and bows, his story. He said, I'm not a decorator, but I am a retired engineer. No. And blue was Marge's favorite color. So I did our house in blue. You get the scene now. He's crying, we're crying, muffins are getting soggy. But it's Christmas. I know, it was like December 18th, and we said, we can take all these packages back. I mean, we're going to open them, and it's good. But it's Christmas. It's good. So we chatted a bit, and we closed the door, and said, thank you. Thank you. And it was one of my holiest moments in my whole life. You know, the ones. They're just waiting for you to step in and love one another. We didn't know. We didn't know that we were going to open the door and make his day. And before we went in, came out and told us about all the lights and how far apart they were and how long. Plus, he had gotten up on the ladder and done it all himself, and he was maybe late 70s, early 80s, climbed up on the roof. But it was that joy of appreciation. It was that joy of appreciation. Mr. Pendleton. The other thing that I love to do, that we're going to do next week, so be a part of this, because we're going to give you a little hat if you want, is caroling. Ever since Mrs. Schrock's 6th grade, I have been caroling somewhere to somebody, like it or not. But we would go out, we would carol, we would send little notes that the 6th grade class was coming in, we would carol. And so, as an adult, I kept that on, and one year I was hosting the Christmas party from my schoolroom, and it was cold in Sacramento. I mean, it was cold and damp, and we didn't really want to go out. I had a big fireplace, and so we were drinking our little hot chocolates and everything, and I said, okay, let's do this. We'll drink hot chocolate, and we'll go this block. And then we'll drink hot chocolate, and then we'll go this block. And then we'll drink hot chocolate if we still have time. So we caroled, and then we had these long taper candles, and we we had ribbons and things, and they set in those little pie tins, you know, so you wouldn't get it on your mittens. So we looked resplendent. We really looked good. We had little hats on. So we go down, and then we come back, and it's cold. And so I said, let's just go one more walk. What do you say? We're all dressed up. We're all rehearsed now. We can belt out any song you want. So we go down this block. And we come to a house that I'm telling you. Anyway, so, and there's a big picture window and a big tree, and you can see that there's a party going on, Christmas party of some sort. So we all line up on the sidewalk. There are about 30 of us, and we're looking, and we got red jackets on and hats and everything. And so we start singing. We sing about 2 songs. Front door flings open. A woman comes tiptoeing across the grass, and she says, "How'd you know?" And we're thinking, how'd we know? How'd you know that this is my best friend's 40th birthday party? Who sent you? How'd you know? How'd you find that lab? And it's like, okay, we're part of something bigger, and we didn't even know. So we're just going to pretend that we're here on purpose. And we were. That's the magic of Christmas. So thank you very much. Do I owe you anything? It's like, you know, I look up and down, I think, well, you know, we are school teachers, and yeah, so anyway, but I just, sure, we take an offering. And so we went back, and we just talked about that, and how did we know, and suppose we hadn't gone down that block. Just suppose. Christmas is full of those miracle stories. It's why we love looking and listening to and watching time and again George Bailey take a look at his life. Don't we love that? It's a Wonderful Life. We say, George, I love the guy that plays his little angel. George, you did some wonderful things. Don't forget it. And we love it. We love it. When the Grinch is posed at the top of Mount Crumpet to dump it, don't we love it that he doesn't? We do. We love that he comes sailing down and carves the roast beast. It's Christmas. We love that. Do you love knowing that Frank Church in the 1800s addressed a letter from a little girl reminding her about Christmas? Yes, Virginia, there is a Christmas. We love it. We love knowing that Pastor Clement Moore was very busy Christmas Eve. And he had promised his little daughter, I'm not sure why this comes through daughters, I think it must be the Mary lineage somehow, but anyway, he had promised his daughter that he would give her a special gift for Christmas. And he had told her they would write her a story or a poem. And so anyway, there were some things that hadn't shown up yet for Christmas dinner, so his wife said, well, you have to get in the sleigh and go to town and get some things. And so on his way there and back, he's listening to the sleigh bells, and on his way there and back, he writes, "'Twas the night before Christmas." Comes home, finishes up after dinner, and presents it to his daughter as her Christmas. Friends, Miracle on 34th Street, we can go on and on. The stories of miracles and goodness and the heart that is open big as we love one another. At Christmas, there's not a better time, not a better season or a better reason for you to put on, well, you could look like a float. I've had Christmases where I had tinsel on. One Christmas I had a really neat dress and didn't have time to go and get some jewelry, so I wore garland. I had stars and I looked great. So the idea is to embrace and move into what your Christmas looks like right now. This year. There's some people in it this year that weren't last year. There's some people that are new to your families. But there's joy at the bottom of all that. There's love and joy and embrace, and you need to be part of it. Because it's Christmas. Because the lights are on, presents are being given, songs are being sung, carolers are caroling. It's Christmas. It's your time to be the elf that you are, that you came to be, to give a portion of yourself which is the true gift of Christmas. So I love you through it. I bless you through it. I hope that it is just so big. Like it says in Malachi 3:10, that you have such a blessing, that such a blessing is poured out on you like it was on John, that you can hardly hold it inside. I saw him, he's a man, kind of quiet, but he's filled with joy. Yes! And it happens to come at Christmas. It's a double blessing. Yes! It's miracle time. And I wish you yours. God bless you.